This is Nick Nielsen, Mad Scientist of Muscle, and what I've got for you today here is a review of a fat loss stack by Inno Supps. Now, this stack consists of 4 separate products, and I'm going to be running through each one of these separately, but first I want to give you kind of my impression overall of the stack. Now, I'm going to swing over here and give you a list of these. So first is Inno Shred. Second is Night Shred. Full Carn, which is a carnitine supplement, and Inno Cleanse. Now, all of these put together is the fat loss stack. Now, each one of these is targeted for a different aspect of fat loss and targets a different, basically, purpose for being in the stack. Now, before I run through each one, I'm going to kind of give you an overhead view of my experience with it. I actually waited to test this one until I hit a fat loss plateau. I've been doing a fat loss program for about a month and a half before I tested this out. So I actually waited until I was basically not seeing any improvements for 2 straight weeks before I decided to give this one a test run. Because what I wanted to do was to use myself as a self-control group. So once I hit that plateau, then I started taking this stack of supplements just to kind of work and make sure and see if there's a difference. Is there really a difference when I use these compared to not using these, when basically all else is the same, including training, calorie intake, pretty much everything. So what I can tell you is that yes, I did notice a significant difference. In the 3 weeks that I was testing this out, I actually not only started dropping again, I started seeing a really good amount of fat loss without any loss in muscle or strength. I ended up dropping about 4 pounds of pure fat in 3 weeks, which, although that does not sound like a whole lot, dropping that much actual fat is significant, and it showed a visual difference in myself when I look from previous snapshots of when I was not using the supplements. So, all things being equal, using myself as a control group, this stack did result in significant drop in body fat without changing anything, essentially. It's not going to do the work for you. You still need to have a caloric deficit. You still need to put in the work, do the training, do the proper eating, but it can actually help. So I'm going to run through each of these supplements, these 4 supplements in the stack, one by one here. So the first one I'm going to go through is the Inno Shred one, and this is the non-stimulant version that I've got. They do have a stimulant version that does contain an additional couple of ingredients, caffeine and yohimbe, that aren't included in the version that I tried. For me personally, I prefer not to use the stimulant version simply because I train later in the day. I don't want to interfere with sleep relaxation later in the day. Sometimes it's like 5 or 6 p.m. when I train. If you train earlier in the day, maybe you're not sensitive to the effects of caffeine as much. The stimulant one is also effective. Caffeine does have some fat loss properties in addition to getting you cranked up for a workout. Yohimbe is another one that's actually effective for accessing stubborn fat in your body when other things basically don't open up those receptors. Yohimbe can actually be effective for that. So what I'm going to do here is run through the rest of the ingredients that are found in both versions of the product. Now, green tea extract, EGCG, is a good one, and that's it's useful as an appetite suppressant. It's useful for increasing the metabolism. This one's been around for a while. The effects aren't huge, but they are significant, and they are backed by some decent research. CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, is another good one. This is fatty acid, omega-6 fatty acid. The synthetic version, the version that you'll find in supplements, is generally derived from vegetable source. The food source is generally from grass-fed animals like grass-fed beef. Grass-fed beef, essentially, is the biggest version of it. And I find, for me, it's okay. It's just okay. It's also reported to help prevent formation of new fat cells, which when you're on a fat loss diet, that's not so much of a concern. But the addition of CLA into this is not going to hurt you, but it may not necessarily help you all that much. Now, also one thing I did notice in this product, CLA has been shown to have an effect in terms of fat loss, but the research shows that the amount that's in this particular one may not be enough to really see that effect. So that's one thing to keep in mind with this. supplements that do contain a lot of ingredients, and I'll go talk about this probably repeatedly here, it is harder to get effective doses of ingredients in those supplements. Grains of paradise. This is an interesting one. I had not actually even heard of this one before, but the mechanism of action on this one is to potentially turn white fat into brown fat. White fat is basically the marbled stuff that your body uses for the majority of its storage. This is not as metabolically active as brown fat. Brown fat is the fat that your body burns to maintain body temperature. For example, if you're getting cold and you're not shivering yet, but your body's trying to maintain body temperature, it accesses brown fat for this. It's more metabolically active, more usable to the body. So what this grains of paradise stuff is supposed to do, and there is research showing this actually does happen, is supposed to convert those white cells into brown fat cells, which helps to improve the burning of that fat, making it more metabolically active. So this is actually a really cool mechanism of action that I wasn't familiar with before, but it is actually proven with research and effective. Capsimax, which is a cayenne pepper extract. This is something that I used a long time ago. You may be familiar with the ephedrine caffeine aspirin stack from about 20 years ago. What I would actually do is take that stack plus the cayenne extract to potentiate the effects even more. Now, I don't take that ECA stack anymore. Nobody really does anymore because it's technically not legal anymore. But I did find with the addition of the cayenne extract, it did bump that up a little bit more. So including this in there is likely going to increase the thermogenic potential of this supplement. And that pretty much covers the main aspects of the Inno Shred stuff. On training days, what I'll generally do is I'll take one capsule in the morning and then one capsule right before training. On non-training days, I'll take 2 capsules first thing in the morning, and that'll run me through the whole rest of the day. So, gotta move on to the next supplement here now. So the next supplement in the stack is Night Shred, and this is what that looks like. Now this is something you take maybe 45 minutes to an hour before going to sleep, and basically the goal of this is to help you get to sleep. It's not going to actively burn fat while you're sleeping. It's not like a nighttime fat burner. It's a way to get your body calmed down, allow you to recover, repair, rest, regenerate, all the benefits of sleep. And if you're on a fat loss diet, sometimes it can be tougher to get to sleep because your cortisol levels are generally going to be a bit elevated, and that kind of wakes you up more. So this is doubly so if you're using a stimulant version of a fat loss supplement like the Inno Shred with caffeine. You'll want something not to bounce you up and down artificial or anything, but to help calm your body down naturally so you're able to get sleep and recovery, which allows you to rest, which is important for muscle growth, fat loss, the works. Now, one of the main ingredients in this is GABA, gamma-aminobutyric acid. Now, GABA has not been proven conclusively to cross the blood-brain barrier, which means that when you take it orally, it's not been fully shown to actually get into your brain, but there is research showing that it does have an effect on sleep by helping you get to sleep sooner, helping you sleep a little bit longer. So it's not wrong to have this in there, and there are other ingredients in here that can potentiate the effects of it. But GABA is certainly not harmful, and it's going to help you kind of calm down overall. Now, this Night Shred also contains various flower extracts, such as chamomile, and valerian is another herbal one. These ones have been shown to have basically just an overall relaxation effect on the body, which, you can take them separately. In here, you're going to have a lot of different ones that all have that similar effect. Ashwagandha is another primary ingredient in this formula, which is a fantastic adaptogen, an anti-stress adaptogen specifically. And basically the idea being when you're stressed, you're going to have a hard time sleeping. So finding something that helps you to alleviate that stress is going to help you get to sleep, help you sleep faster, sleep longer. Now, does the ashwagandha work? This is something that's actually been proven again and again with plenty of research. And it's an Ayurvedic herb from India, and I've used it by itself, and I've used it in other formulas, and this stuff is effective, and there is an effective dose of it in here. One of the next ingredients is 5-HTP, which is hydroxytryptophan, and it's kind of along the lines of when you see the people falling asleep after eating a pile of turkey, which is completely unrelated, but the thought is it's the tryptophan. Usually it's actually the carbs with that. But this kind of stuff, the HTP, is effective and has been proven effective. The only thing here in this particular formula is the dosage is on the lower end of what is effective for sleep. This is a 35 milligram dose in here. The research has generally shown that you're looking for sleep purposes about 100 to 300 milligrams, but that's when taken on its own and not in conjunction with other things. GABA actually works well with 5-HTP to help you fall asleep faster. And that's one of the benefits of having this in a multi-ingredient formula, is some of these ingredients do work synergistically together, where maybe the single dose of it might be low for one thing, but if you're combining them with other things, you actually do get a positive effect from that. Now, just so you know too, with the 5-HTP and stuff like that, it can take repeated dosages in order to get the effect. So it's not like a one and done supplement. You will need to take it consistently, and specifically with the 5-HTP, after about 8 weeks of use, the effects of that one do taper off. Let's see. Now, one of the other things about 5-HTP is it does have some potential nighttime anti-appetite effects. So it has some anti-suppressant kind of effects, similar to what EGCG does. The EGCG specifically, as I mentioned before, I think I forgot to mention earlier, has a ghrelin suppressant effect. And the ghrelin is the I'm hungry hormone, essentially. So by suppressing that, you kind of feel less hungry. 5-HTP operates on a different track than the EGCG, but it is effective, especially if you're a nighttime snacker. Maybe you get up in the middle of the night for something to eat. It's not a good idea to do. This is going to help you not do that. So, melatonin is another one here. This one has 3 milligrams of melatonin in it. That's a really generally good moderate starter dose for an adult. It's a low dose, so you're definitely not going to OD on this stuff. Melatonin is your nighttime hormone, which helps your body to signal that it's time to go to sleep. And like I said, it's not a huge dose. It does kind of decrease in effectiveness as you use it over time. So you may find with this particular supplement, after a month or two, it may not have the same kind of potency as if you were using it maybe a month on and a month off and that kind of thing. So keep that in mind when you're using this. It's overall a very good sleep assisting supplement. It's very effective that I find. I'm not a troubled sleeper at all, but even when I take this, I do notice a bit of a difference as far as, I can literally put my head on the pillow and I'm out cold in 3 seconds, sleep a full 8 hours, not a problem, I don't even wake up. So that's the second supplement in the stack. Go to the third supplement now. All right, so now the next supplement in the stack is Volcarn 2000. Now, this is a pre-workout supplement that is specifically designed to help you increase overall energy usage and thermogenesis. Now, this is kind of a two-part supplement. It has L-carnitine, which you've likely heard of before and has been around forever. In my opinion, just basic L-carnitine, not that great of a supplement. This particular one has an ingredient, which I'm going to try to pronounce here, called gamma-butyrobutane ethyl ester chloride. GBEEC for short. Now, what L-carnitine generally does is transport basically fatty acids into the mitochondria to burn for energy. So the theory being, if you have more of that carnitine in your system, you're going to basically take the rate limiting factor away in terms of burning fat. And if you're a vegan or vegetarian and you're low on carnitine levels in your body, which most carnitine is found in meat products, you're going to notice more of a difference than if you're not a vegetarian. So if you are a vegetarian, taking just a general L-carnitine supplement can be very beneficial. Now, this version with that long, weird name ingredient has actually been shown to increase plasma carnitine levels in the body. Kind of the theory and the idea with this one is by increasing kind of this GBEEC stuff, it kind of pushes that reaction for your body to make more of its own carnitine. So not only are you giving your body some carnitine from an outside source with the carnitine in the supplement itself, but you've got an ingredient that actually pushes your body to make more of it itself, which the goal is, again, to facilitate getting those fatty acids into the mitochondria, which are the fat-burning engines of your cell, which are generally the energy-creating, again, engines of your cells. Now, another benefit of the GBEC stuff is a potent vasodilator, similar to nitric oxide in how it expands and opens up the blood vessels. Now, what this means is you're going to be getting a better pump, your blood vessels will be more open, and this is going to help you to get the circulation going to access fatty acids so they get out of your fat cells and into your bloodstream and into your muscles, where they can then be burned while you're training. That's why this is a good fat burning supplement to take pre-workout. It's not a stimulant. I didn't find that it really woke up my nervous system. It didn't get me cranked up in that department. What I did find is that you absolutely should start with one single serving. Get used to the one single serving. I tried taking the full capsule, which they say is equal to 2 servings, and what I noticed, and they do mention this on their website, is a sweating effect. This will make you sweat. And the mechanism for this is not actually known, but the end result is absolutely a fact. I can verify that. I took the double dose of this, 2 servings at one time, and literally for 3 to 4 hours later, I was sitting in my house shivering and sweating at the same time. I keep it like 65 degrees in my house, so it's pretty cool in my house. So I felt cold, so I was actually like shivering sometimes, but I was like sweating. My armpits were sweating. I had sweat running down my face as I was cold, and I had a pair of lined winter pants on, and I had a t-shirt and another long sleeve t-shirt on over top of that. I didn't want to have all that stuff on because I was sweating, but I actually felt cold that I needed to have that on. So I don't get that same level of effect when I take just a single serving. So what I'd suggest is you try it with just a single serving, see how that feels. Give it a try with that second serving if you like. It's winter right now while I'm recording this, so that plays in a factor as far as me freezing. So if you're taking this kind of like spring, summer when it's just generally warmer out, you may not get that kind of shivering effect. You may just get the sweating effect. And if you enjoy sweating from your workouts and sweating after your workouts, take the double dose. It's not going to make you all jittery, but it will make you sweat. So that's the Volcarn, and there is research behind showing that this does have a significant effect in terms of getting more carnitine into your bloodstream and into your body to help transport the fat. So it could have some potential beneficial effects in terms of overall fat burning. Now, on to the last supplement here. The final supplement in this stack is Inno Cleanse. Now, this for me is the weakest of the 4 pillars of this formula. It's not really a fat burning thing. It's basically designed to help clear the junk out of your system. Detox, if you will, which in my opinion is kind of something that the body can usually kind of handle on its own, especially if you watch what you're eating and you kind of eat a generally good diet, you drink plenty of water. What this formula does is kind of have a laxative effect and kind of helps your body to push that stuff out of your system. And it does have a few ingredients that I've used separately that do target other aspects of cleansing other than just having a laxative effect. Side note, start with just 1 capsule. It says serving size is 2 capsules. Start with 1. You may only need just 1. Don't start with 2, or you won't want to take this in conjunction with Night Shred, if you know what I'm saying. Not like you're going to poop yourself or anything like that, but just in general, start with 1 capsule. And going back to what's in this, milk thistle is one of the ingredients that you'll find in here, and this has a very beneficial effect on the liver, and it can help your liver to kind of clear itself out and clear some of the junk out of it. Liver is your primary detoxing organ in your body and does the job very well on its own, but this can actually help kind of speed up the process and assist in the process of your liver clearing out junk. Another one of the ingredients in this is another one that I've used separately, which is bentonite clay. Now, one of the big benefits of this one is its potential ability to bind to heavy metals in your body. So if you have any heavy metals, like say you're eating a lot of tuna and maybe yours is not mercury free, this potentially could, there's no promises here, potentially could help get some of those heavy metals out of your body, especially if you've been taking supplements or eating foods that are contaminated. It happens because we live in a toxic world, we live in a polluted world, and these things can get into your system. So something like this can potentially help you get some of that stuff out of your system. Now, just so you know up front, this is not something where you're going to poop yourself thin. That's something I like to say to make fun of things that talk about cleansing. But this kind of thing is not shouldn't be specifically taken for that. Like a lot of people with eating disorders do take laxative to basically, eat food and then crap it right back out immediately after. Now, that's not what this is for. The goal of this is not to, like the shellfish extract, where you bind to things and then flush it right out by binding it to it so you don't digest it. That's not what this is for. This is to basically take garbage that's in your system and to help your body to assist in the process of clearing that out of your system. So don't think of this as poop yourself thin. Think of this as kind of clearing your system out. If you've got stuff stuck in your digestive tract, getting rid of that so that you can more efficiently ingest nutrients and to absorb nutrients, that's going to have a beneficial effect on your body. But as far as cleansing, your body can detoxify itself pretty well. This is going to assist in that process. It's not a miracle fat loss thing where you're literally, like I said, going to poop yourself thin. That's not how this stuff works. But in terms of getting stuff out of you, this stuff works. So take one capsule, use it for 2 weeks at a time, and then take 2 weeks off. So while some of the other products are some things that you can use continuously and over the course of weeks and months, this is something you will want to alternate periods of 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off with. Now, one of the other benefits of this kind of product is if you find that when you're on a lower calorie diet, lower food intake diet, that you get constipated, this can help you to keep things moving. So it's not like an X-Lax laxative that pulls water from other parts of your body so that it can help move things through. This will actually assist in the process of natural elimination. So in that respect, this is another benefit of this Inno Cleanse supplement. Okay, now overall this stack I found to be really beneficial. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I did find that when I was stuck at a plateau and that I didn't change anything else except for starting these supplements, I did notice a very positive effect, dropping about 4 pounds of actual fat in 3 weeks. Now, what you'll notice here is that they do very effectively address, the ingredients effectively address various pillars of fat loss, such as increasing metabolic rate, increasing thermogenesis, reducing appetite, directly targeting rest and relaxation, and as well as pushing waste products out of your body. Now, you will obviously need to continue to put in the work, to do the training, to put in a caloric deficit. Those are the two basic drivers, which is the caloric deficit is obviously number one, but the training and the exercise to maintain muscle mass is a close second. Now, what you want to be sure of is that you're using these correctly to support the process. And it's very easy to take. It's not something that you're taking hundreds of pills every day. You're taking a couple in the morning potentially, and then you're taking a little bit of pre-workout stuff and then some at night. It's very easy to work these into your routine. It is beneficial stuff. This stuff I did find to be very effective. The major downside that I found with this is when you're taking supplements that have a lot of ingredients in them, as I mentioned before, it is possible to not have the amount of effective ingredients that you might find in studies on individual ingredients. This may or may not be made up when you're using synergistic ingredients, but there are specific items that may not have enough to have a clinical effect. Not going to hurt you, but it may not have as much that you're generally going to get the strongest effect from. But the overall, that being said, I mean, that's a weakness that you'll find in just about any overall highly, I don't want to say specialized, but multiple ingredient formulas. That's going to be a common thing. Is this stuff effective? I think it is. I've looked at the research on all these ingredients. I've used a lot of the ingredients individually before, and they are effective, put together in a targeted fashion. and in a very logical and strategic fashion. I think this stuff is good. This Inno Supps Stack is effective and it will work for you. So the bottom line here is, if you're doing okay on fat loss on your own, you're getting the caloric deficit, you've got it trained dialed in, and you are seeing fat loss, do you need this stack? Not necessarily. Can it be helpful? Absolutely. And can it make the process of losing fat easier? Absolutely. And it could potentially even make it a bit more pleasant. Now, if you are stuck in a plateau, as I was, this can be a very effective way to get yourself past that plateau. So it is worth considering. It is definitely worth giving a try. And the ingredients and the formulas are well thought out and put together with good quality ingredients. I didn't find anything in here that I thought had no place in a fat loss stack. And I think it is worth trying. And I'll have a link down below where you can go to the site, learn more, read more, and try this stack out for yourself.